Good afternoon. My name is Jordan Hand, a solutions consultant with Kahua. Look forward to discussing analytics with you in our deep dive. Let's take a look at our agenda. We're going to go ahead and start off with just a quick refresher demonstration of Kahua, just a couple of minutes for those that may not be recently familiar with the system, have not seen it before, or maybe it's been a while. From there, we will answer the question, what is Kahua Analytics? And you'll hear me say Power BI a lot. We'll just describe briefly what that is as well. We'll look at some examples of dashboards that we are providing to some of our customers that are available out of the box. We'll look at some of the more vertical specific and industry specific dashboards. We'll review some customer stories and then we'll talk about some considerations if you choose to implement analytics for your organization, just some things for consideration. So let's go ahead and start first with our high-level intro to Kahua. So I've logged into Kahua, and let's just briefly look at the interface. At the top of the screen, I can see the organization I'm in, as well as what part of the system. In this case, I've opened up the Kahua Analytics application. On the left-hand side of the screen, I'll be navigating around with this navigation bar. Very simple and easy to do. Click on the apps menu to open up specific apps. You can click on the little analytics button here to open up analytics. People can swap projects with the project finder, and then all their favorite tools are listed down here on the left-hand side of the screen. We'll be spending most of our time in the analytics tool, but I do want to show you just a sample application in Kahua and talk about some of the key features of one of these apps, especially from the data side, so you understand what data is being surfaced back in our analytics. So here we've opened up our contract change orders app, and we're seeing a list of some of the change orders on a particular project. There's a couple things that are important to note here. One, whenever we create records in the system, we've got a log or a list of all of those, and when I select a particular record, it opens up and shows the different details, the different values on that specific record. A critical thing to understand is that if you're familiar with Kahua's data store, it makes data highly accessible to internal and external analytics tools. And so this means all of the data points that you see on the screen, the dates, the status, in this case, the extension in days, the description, title, number, the different values, all this information is available in the data store, which means it's available to our analytics tools. And as a result, we'll be able to leverage those values and that information to produce interesting dashboards. That's one thing I wanted to kind of get out there in front of you. The information, the record data on the record available to our analytics tools, surfaced in many of our out-of-box analytics dashboards. And if you configure the system, say you add fields and things like that, because Kahua is a platform, the data values are available to that data store. You can then see those additional data points as well and surface those in analytics dashboards. That's a critical point I want to go ahead and get across. One other critical point I wanted to get across, you should be familiar with our hierarchical project structure. We'll take a quick glance at it here in a moment. And what you're going to see is that our analytics respects that. So let's glance at that real quickly. So I've selected my project finder here, and you can see that projects can exist within programs or portfolios, and you have this parent-child relationship of projects and sub-projects. In this example here, I have this healthcare company, different divisions. If I click into a division, I would see projects and sub-projects. Critical thing I want you to understand, analytics can work both at a domain or across your organization level, as well as within specific projects or portfolios, only servicing data to the people that have permissions to that particular area. This enables a better enterprise rollout of Kahua so that people only see the data they're supposed to see in the system. So those were two critical points I wanted to get across before we dive into analytics. The hierarchical project structure supports an enterprise rollout of analytics, enabling certain team members to only see the things they're supposed to see. And secondly, the record data in Kahua easily accessible to our analytics tools. So let's go ahead and talk about Power BI now and Kahua Analytics, what it is and how it can help you. Okay, so we're back in the Kahua Analytics tool. You can see it highlighted with this little pie chart on the left-hand side of the screen. And in here, we have various dashboards. At the top, I can see the different ones I can access: portfolio analytics, workflow analytics, cost and funding analytics, schedule, document management, cash flow. At the bottom of the screen, I see tabs. So within portfolio analytics, I have three dashboards: this general portfolio, this financial portfolio, and then this project view. Kahua chose Microsoft Power BI for our analytics tool for a couple of reasons. One, Microsoft is producing a fantastic tool for data analytics and viewing. They're using best-of-breed dashboarding analytics. There's a lot of documentation information out there and available for learning the tools. And there's many people that are already skilled at it as well. By enabling Microsoft Power BI to be accessible inside of Kahua, makes it very easy for project team members to be able to see the analytics dashboards they need, get details and data about their projects very quickly. Since it's in tool, we provide drill throughs, like these links here to project names are clickable to drive into projects or records. And it's group permissions. So again, you can control who can see what based on their permissions and for what project. So it just gives a lot of control to those that are administering this, a lot of flexibility to have dashboards that meet your specific requirements. And while we're on flexibility, let's talk about this for a moment. We have out-of-the-box dashboards, and you can use them as is. And they provide fantastic visibility to your projects. In fact, that's what we're going to be looking at mostly today. However, many organizations do want to have some of their own analytics dashboards in their own views, and Kahua does enable organizations to have their own analytics dashboards presenting Kahua data in the system. And you can work with our data analytics team and data science team to help set that up to make sure your organization sees exactly what you need to see. So as, say, someone that's managing many projects or needs a view across many projects, I might use this project general portfolio dashboard. I can see where our projects are in the pipeline. At a glance, I can see our portfolio health, where projects may be located, and I have this grid at the bottom that just gives me a quick capital summary overview of projects, status, risk, phase, start, finish, budget, commit, and spend. Just a simple dashboard for quick views. Again, one of the advantages of analytics here is filters. If I wanted to only view projects in a particular status, I could simply select it from a filter and then continue to filter more items. So maybe I want to see project pipeline items with a particular person as the project manager. So it's easy for you to come in and filter and sort and view data the way you need to see it. I can clear those back out and be looking back at my base dashboard again. I can even click on these items down here at the bottom, these columns, and sort and view the data that way as well. So again, easy viewing. We can see projects on maps, and then you can click on these dashboards as well to focus and see, maybe if I click this yellow here, I'm only seeing projects in yellow in the grid, and I can see the pipeline and how it's affected as well. Let's look at our project financial portfolio. In here, I'm seeing a list of all of our projects. Just simply all the projects rolled up. You know, Kahua has a work breakdown structure where your costs are allocated into multiple cost codes. We're just summarizing that to one line and giving you a quick view at the project level of your project costs. I can see what's budgeted, what's committed, what's pending, what's available. Again, sorting, filtering, easy to see information at a glance. Maybe I want to just look at the projects that are where the budget variance is potentially at risk. I can sort the view, and I can see these few project budget variances are at risk for the project, and those may receive my focus more than others. Sometimes you need to see just a single project view. And in here, I can select a project, type the name, and only see information about that specific project. I can see a simple Gantt chart of the project milestones. I can see information on payments, see key project team members. I can see a risk chart. At the top, I can get information on budget commitments and spend to date. So again, looking at the executive, high level, multiple project level, down to the single project detail level at a glance inside of Kahua. Sometimes I want to view data in lieu of looking at a snapshot of portfolio and project details. Prefer view things from a process standpoint and see information on how project teams are performing and where key records are. In this case, I'm viewing everything that's in workflow. Similar to our project tasks app, if you're familiar with it, Kahua has a task list. Things are ball in court. We're a collaborative system. People can approve things and review things. We wanted to give people an easy way to come in and view that log and see where things are in process, not just on a single project, but across multiple projects. So I can come in and see maybe who is working on tasks. Let's say here, Lynn Hicks. I can see all of Lynn Hicks's various items across all the projects he's working on. So we have easy visibility into the work he's completing, what's ball in court, when things were submitted for review or signature. I have easy date slicers to reduce the content on the screen based on particular dates of when things were sent. I can reduce this as well down to specific applications or modules in our system to only focus on particular areas. Maybe I want to look at all the contracts that we have out as an organization that are ball in court that are not reviewed or signed yet. Take a look at that project risk as it relates to documents and project costs that are not quite committed yet. Another example is to drill into our approvals tools. In our approvals workflows, I can see how long it's taking particular people to get tasks complete, which apps, basically processes, are taking the longest to get complete, which ones are the most outstanding. I can have a 6-month view of metrics on how long it takes to complete particular items. So if we want to start optimizing our workflow, understanding what is taking a long time for review and why, and start trying to understand as an organization how we can optimize process, we have visibility into those trends in our dashboards. Similar here with our historical approvals dashboard, we're able to see how long some of these various items are taking. All right, let's move into our cost and funding analytics next. This was an analytics dashboard we created to track payments. Some organizations we were working with, a lot of times they're reconciling finances with accounting, want to be able to easily see what's been paid in a particular period. And so at a, again, program level or project level, easily drill through and select a project. And then by selecting that project, see all invoices and pay requests, when they were entered and paid, and have visibility into the exact amounts and dates of those payments. So this is more of an audit log of all payments in the system for you to help track and audit your projects and help better collaborate with finance. This is another dashboard, this fiscal period payments. We'll actually revisit this one in a little bit. This provided a lot of value for a specific customer I'll mention in a little bit. But it provides a way to use the drill through capabilities of Power BI to better see payments in particular periods, and to be able to, you'll see here I just clicked on 2024, now I'm going into quarters, now I'm going into months. A particular organization, again, we'll go into more details later, wanted to be able to go and see on a per month basis exactly what had been paid, to be able to enter that into some state forms and save a lot of money and time. We'll talk about that as we get into some of our customer stories. With data in the system, we can also start pivoting it in an interesting way, right? You got team members that are out there writing contracts and change orders and payments, and Kahua's doing a great job of helping track these details. Maybe we can pivot this and look at it in a little bit different way. In this case, I had this hierarchical view here, and we're viewing the data by project, then vendor. So it's very easy for an organization to select a particular vendor and just see at a glance everything that's going on with that particular vendor on a project. So I can see all of the contracts, change orders, and other details of that particular project with that specific vendor, just by selecting the project and seeing all of the items that are relevant. At a glance, I can see Chief Construction has 2 contracts, 1 purchase order on this particular job. This hierarchical selector, again, very helpful as well. You can use these filters up here too to help pick various teams that you might want to track as well. I can come in here and select a particular contractor, and it will only, if I scroll down, it would only show me the ones for that particular vendor. Here you see elevated construction for each of these items, and I can start browsing through very briefly and seeing all the things we're doing with elevated construction, all the projects, all the documents. Again, strong audit, easy to view and see. And here's one more. The view we were just looking at only went to the document level. Now let's get to the item level, and we'll unpivot it by the vendor. So on a particular project, I can select the project, and I can see every line item of contracts and change orders. So if I wanted a deeper drill through, I can start drilling through the hierarchy, seeing every contract, every change order, then selecting those shows all the related lines of these records. So again, quick views. You're not having to go in, open up a particular record, try to find things. I can just sit here and jump through and see the information I need for the collaboration and communication with finance and project audit. Let's take a look at schedules next. So I'm going to choose this schedule analytics. Schedule analytics, the first one gives me my project schedule portfolio, and I can very easily just start browsing through the various projects and looking at their start and completion date in the portfolio manager, see when those projects are planned to start and finish. The ones that are overdue based on not completing at that particular time will show as overdue. The ones that are on time show as green. My demo data here is showing a bunch of red ones. I would like to note this is not customer data. I can select a project and quickly see the information on that specific one as well if I wanted to drill through this grid, or if I wanted to sort projects by when they start, by name, by phase, and other filters to more easily see project milestone and schedule status as well. Just clicking through, seeing when these projects start and finish, or browsing the larger Gantt style view as well. Again, similar, this is actually a request I've seen a lot talking with prospective and existing customers, is I want to see all of my project milestones across all projects. And I want to see it not just at the single level, a project and a start and finish date, but I want to see a little bit of detail in there. And so this one here is showing me the various milestones across all projects. I can either select the project name to quickly jump from one to the other, or I can scroll through the list and see all of the milestones and when they hit on the Gantt chart as well, to give me a quick view of all these projects. And I can roll them up and down. I can see when projects start to design and complete with those milestones. In here is simply, instead of grouping it by project, I just want to see all milestones across all projects. This one's really built to be able to select a particular project and see its details on one screen. So just a quick way to be able to view all project milestones, filter and not see the project details in there, pick the project and drill through to those. So again, analytics, helping people see schedule details and data in some valuable ways, looking across the portfolio at a high level, single project level, or excuse me, at a multi-project level with a single start and finish date, looking at it from the milestone perspective where I have a little bit of drill through, but still grouped by project, or flattening it out and just viewing it across all projects, and with the intent generally to filter those down on a specific job. We can take a look at document management as well. So we've looked at your overall portfolio and some executive summary details. We're looking at trending, we're looking at cost, we're looking at schedule. You also have critical documents that are in process on a project. And these are just a few of them: risks, RFIs, submittals, and others. But I want to be able to see what the various construction administration, project governance, and tracking tools in the system are telling me. And so these give strong details as well. This is our risk dashboard. I can see on the left a risk matrix and where all my risks are landing. Again, selecting these helps me focus, helps me see critical information. I can just focus on the high items or the moderate items. Generally, right, you're looking at those red items that are more critical for the ones you need to mitigate. I can see all the open risks across all projects, sort and filter by project. I can see the total amount of risk across our organization based on contingency or budget and schedule impact values as well, giving me strong high-level views across projects and programs. We have organizations that have needed help seeing it. When you have projects that have hundreds or thousands of RFIs, it can just be hard to see who's got what. So let me see what's in review. Let me see who's got what, and simply select and view by person who's got all the things in their court, where are items in the status funnel on projects. Similar with RFIs, give me a log view. I want to be able to actually see, similar to a Kahua log view, I want to be able to see the RFIs at a glance at the top of the screen. And down here in the bottom, I can see all the reviewers and where it is in court. If I want to look at the open RFIs, I can just come over here and say I want to see the ones that are in review. I can pick it by number. I can pick who it's assigned to. I'll go ahead and pick someone here like that. And so now I'm seeing all the ones that are assigned to this particular person that are in review. I can see all the dates for that person and where they are. If I'm going to call a person up or send them an email, I've got all the details here for everything that's going on. We can sit there and work through them one by one and get information and try to get some of those items responded to. Similar for submittals, giving visibility to submittals, where they are in process across. Again, don't forget these are cross-project. I can see who's got which submittals. How are we taking that submittal log and taking all the open items and reducing it, like on this waterfall chart here? How are we getting those moved over into the completed state? Let's take a look at cash flow next as well. These are some more recent dashboards I'm excited about. Kahua's had cash flow tools for a while, and these dashboards and analytics make cash flow easier to view right here in our analytics tools. So let's take a look at a couple of examples. All right, so I can pick the project and the cash flow from this list. So I'm going to pick this Terminal A West project and select the June cash flow, and immediately I can see exactly where we are to date with budget and expense. I can see on the right-hand side of the screen the periodic, and on the left-hand side of the screen, that axis, I can see the cumulative cash flow to date and projections of cash flow. Again, we should think about Kahua and thinking of things from a multi-project perspective, and thinking of some of the really valuable parts of Power BI. I can multi-select and click multiple projects and see how they're affected as well. And I could actually see multiple projects and their cash flow on these charts if I wanted to see multiple projects and how they're affecting the cash flow. Now I'm viewing multiple, I'm seeing them on the chart, I'm seeing how they're affecting our cash flow. And so you can see the gray one here is one of the projects that's building out this legend down here. I can quickly see a tabular view as well. So these are really powerful views of project cash flow. Here's another one where I'm viewing it more in a table format. And again, I can see our projected spend and actual spend to date. Next, let's take a look at some more vertical specific dashboards, and look forward to talking about those and some customer stories around those. All right, so we reviewed some of our more owner-centric dashboards, again, available out of the box. We want to move into more vertical specific dashboards, and we're going to show vertical dashboards in the context today of K through 12 education dashboards. But be thinking about your vertical and how you may need dashboards tailored for you, or what dashboards you might expect to see out of something more industry focused for your particular organization. In this case, we worked heavily with some existing customers on here. San Juan Unified School District specifically comes to mind. But we'll talk about some of the ways of pivoting data to be able to help improve your work outcomes, to make it easier to report to the various project stakeholders that you need to report to, and how our system is taking the data in Kahua with a couple of little pieces that you may track and take that information and really be able to leverage it in your communication to the greater community. So similar to the other dashboard we looked at here, similar to the dashboard we looked at previously with the dashboard we looked at for owners for a single project view, where you were seeing cost, risks, and other details and data. This one is just a little bit different. Easy to see project on the map. On the left, project description, added fund source details to be able to see the usage of funds, and a little bit heavier cost focus. And that was how we built out some of these for education. I can also show you here, so I could just click on a project, immediately see the project cost information, click on another one, same thing, glance at it by fund source and other details. Now, a lot of times on K-12, organizations need to be able to report by certain parts of the district, whether it's different board members that are serving various locations, various zip codes, or other details. And so here what we're doing is looking at a map of all the schools. I can see that all the projects going on. And then at the end of the day, when someone calls and says, hey, what are you doing in our area to help schools and where we're located, the organization could simply select that zip code and say, well, we've got 3 projects and they're using these funds, and here's the status of them, and here's what we've spent to date and how we're using a bond. And so it's very easy to get these details and information and communicate them effectively. So again, just taking some of the details already available in the system and pivoting it in a valuable way for reporting analytics. Similar to what we looked at on the out-of-the-box dashboard for owners. Here, very similar, a single project cost, or a multi-project single line cost detail view, except additional fund source tracking built in. So not just budget, commit, and spend, but also tracking the usage of funds on the projects as well. This dashboard has provided a lot of value to customers. Again, San Juan comes to mind as well. A lot of questions on how are you using funds, what's the status of funds, and this dashboard kind of works left to right and top to bottom. Someone can come in, select a specific fund. Upon selection of the fund, then see any of the appropriations of the fund. So if I click this bonds program here, I can see the various appropriations. If I click on the appropriation, then I can see what schools are receiving those funds, how much money has been reserved and released for those, and then a view of the budget, commit, and spend to date. So it's really easy to drill through, and again, say exactly where a fund's been used, exactly how much has been spent to date, and as people manage the projects, it's just being updated right here automatically. So now let's talk about how one organization used these dashboards to set up for a successful state audit. Lots of education systems have financing situations which require recurring reports to key stakeholders. And unfortunately, it takes a lot of time. These reports are very labor intensive to compile due to the sheer size of districts and number of projects and project managers, and also the inability to quickly and easily compile these reports. We'll look at it in a moment, but Kahua Analytics has been instrumental in making these processes more efficient, tolerable for some of our customers and clients. San Juan, I've mentioned them a couple of times. They've been using this solution. They manage $1.2 billion in bonds, cover 78 square miles, 82 sites. They have a lot going on, and they were struggling to track down paper reports, emails, some of the workflow items, knowing what's outstanding and where. And we've seen some of those other dashboards earlier on tracking workflow. And the analytics app helped make this more automated for them and allowed these comprehensive reports to be able to be produced a lot faster and easier. We already looked at the deep WBS fund report where they could just go in and click on a bond and see the project usage. This one, again, we mentioned this at the beginning of the presentation, really powerful as well. There's certain forms that San Juan need to fill out, and the people managing the project can simply select the fiscal year, drill through with Power BI's drill through feature, drop into now I can see quarters, drop again into months, and these columns here, this data is what needed to be plugged into a form for the authorities, and one of our contacts over there could simply go in and just start entering in these items on the report, and the report was done versus needing to spend hours and hours and even days compiling the information. It became a matter of clicking on the month and knowing exactly where all the project actuals were and having all the fiscal period payments captured. So again, just some examples of how some of our existing customers are using these tools and how we are helping vertical specific, industry specific organizations get additional benefit and value out of Kahua using our analytics. So We've looked at a lot of dashboards today and a lot of analytics, and hopefully so far you've seen, one, that the data in Kahua reportable in our analytics tool. Two, the incorporation of Power BI into Kahua makes it easy for people to get information quickly and easily, and to pivot the data in a way that is valuable to how people respond to the various stakeholders and their customers and the people that they report to on projects. We've looked at some of the out-of-the-box dashboards and sort of our owner dashboards, as well as some of the more vertical specific dashboards with the K-12 dashboards. We talked about some customer stories with San Juan as an example as well. What I do want to talk about now is, suppose you're considering doing more data analytics with Kahua data and your project management data. And we just wanted to maybe talk through some questions you might want to ask yourself as you start to go down this journey. One is, do you have in-house data science resources? We see this a lot where we talk to organizations and they've been ramping up and building data science specialty in-house. It's definitely worth considering if you'll be engaging them in that implementation, talking through how you're going to approach using your data with that team. And if you don't have that team in place, Kahua has data science team members that can assist and help you model and produce these dashboards and analytics for your organization. I would recommend really thinking about the end goal as you implement our product, as you're considering what details and data you might want to see in these sorts of dashboards. I'd be thinking about, once it's done implementing, I'm going to sit down at my desk, look at the screen, and what do I want to see? What information needs to be on the screen? As a result of that information, what do people need to be inputting in? What do I need to make sure is required? What workflows do I need to support getting that information? What are the things I really care about? And then what are the things that we may let slide a little bit? They're less important if we can focus on the critical items that are going to give us the views of the data that we can manage by exception. So those are some other questions to start thinking through as you go through the decision-making process. Do you already have access to analytics software? Are you already using dashboards in some format? It's another thought. Do you have a central data repository? It is worth noting Kahua is not a data warehouse. The data in these dashboards comes from Kahua, and this is reporting Kahua data. If you want any other outside data in here, in these dashboards we're looking at, it needs to be integrated into Kahua. A great example is our our P6 or Microsoft Project integration. Very easy for team members to upload a schedule right into Kahua. Once that data is imported, it's available to our analytics tools and can be used to visualize and see information there. But our analytics is not going to directly tie to P6 without going through that integration. So just worth considering. And what data sources you may want to feed this. And if you have a whole lot of data sources, if you're trying to do data warehousing, you might want to consider Kahua being a data source to pull that information elsewhere. But even then, we've seen a lot of customers have a lot of benefit just from having the analytics and dashboards right in the tool. Again, really makes a lot of project managers, project executives, people that are looking at these projects and programs all the time have really found value. Just have it simple. I go to one place, everything I need is right there. So hopefully that gives you some considerations to think through. Thank you very much for your time. And we will now have a Q&A session.
All right, like Jordan said, we're going to go ahead and start the Q&A session of this webinar. But before we start with the first question, we do have one last poll question for you guys. So go ahead and put in your answer choices. And while you guys do that, Cosmin and Jordan will start with the first question.
All right, so first question was asked, do you need Power BI and the Analytics app, or can the app work independently with data from the data store? That's a great question. The way we implemented Power BI, our analytics tool includes Power BI and the licenses of Power BI as part of that offering. So you do not need to have a separate license of Power BI to view Power BI dashboards in our analytics tool.
Thanks for taking a stab at that, Jordan. I appreciate it. Great answer, and I think ultimately that's what it is. They're not different; they are the same thing. What you're viewing inside of analytics is Power BI. So the analytics app itself displays Power BI dashboards. They can't live without each other. They do coexist, but what you're consuming is essentially Power BI. So with that in mind, hopefully I can take a stab at the second question that we received. And I can see here, I'll actually ask for a bit of a clarification in the chat around sharing Kahua Analytics reports. I think that's something that could be of interest to the audience. But we've received a question of, does Kahua share analytics reports, given that the majority of projects share common denominators? And the way I would approach this and the way I would interpret this question is whether we can share the out-of-the-box offering and sort of have it be a plug-and-play solution, essentially. Have it where we have a lot of different standard KPIs that we have seen traditional owners, whether it's vertical specific or not, use the exact same sort of project metrics, and that's what we've baked in to the actual analytics offering. So the sharing feature, if you will, once you get an out-of-the-box implementation, it's the same look and feel for everybody. Of course, your data populates, but the KPIs display organization-relevant data, but ultimately the way they're tracked are standard industry metrics. We're happy to tweak them for you, but we do think we have a good grasp, at least a starting point on what those metrics are. So we're happy to iterate with you on that.
So the next question was around, are the out-of-the-box features flexible enough to allow changes to font size, color, other aesthetic aspects? Will I need to reach out to Kahua for assistance with these minor aesthetic changes? So the straight out-of-the-box analytics dashboards are usable as is, and you're not going to change colors and things like that in the analytics interface. That's going to be done in the Power BI editor. Typically, it is best to engage with our team on modifications and changes to those. And if I need to provide any additional clarification there on those different situations, Cosmin, feel free to jump in.
Certainly. I think it's worthwhile stating here that while the majority of changes and customizations go through Kahua, as has been traditional for our implementations, a lot of our owners do not have the in-house resources or prefer to not take the implementation on themselves and work off of the out-of-the-box offering. We do open up our analytics dashboards on a more case-by-case basis to certain customers that would want to work more closely with us to iterate on these offerings. So as we said, we're constantly iterating and prototyping, and we welcome the ability to work with you. For minor aesthetic changes, that's something that we're very flexible on and can allow for freedom from the end user to tailor this. But of course, there will be some specific training involved here and familiarity with the Kahua platform. So from a roadmap perspective, you can expect some self-servicing capabilities, but it is very important to know that this is a Kahua-centric offering, and you will need certain Kahua-centric training. We think it's standard, and it will help deepen your skills, including in Power BI, but just something to be aware of.
Question 4 is, how does Kahua leverage predictive AI in its analytics to enhance project management capabilities like Copilot and ChatGPT? I can answer on the out-of-the-box dashboards and analytics we looked at today are not leveraging AI or Copilot or ChatGPT in those specifically. We are doing research and working on AI, and we have resources devoted to it specific to the analytics we looked at today. They're not leveraging predictive AI. Another question, is the cash flow using the WBS app or other sources? Is the cash flow analysis in Kahua conducted using WBS or breakdown structure app, or does it utilize other sources such as the transportation example shown, or was the data from P6? Great question. The cash flow we showed was pulling data. We have a cash flow tool, or we call it a cash flow app. It connects our cost data and milestones or imported P6 or project schedule data in to project project cash flow. Basically, there's a cadence. A project manager might log in, reconcile their costs for the month, do some projections on the cash flow in the cash flow tool, and then the analytics tool is reporting that out and showing you the cash flow that the person projected. There's automated curves and things like that to simplify the work for people, but that's the basic capability is managed in the cash flow tool. And if you would be interested in seeing more about the cash flow tool, definitely reach out and we can schedule time to show that as well. The sixth question, excellent presentation on how to use information once it's in the system. Thank you. I am curious to learn of the approach to entering data and getting files set up. Beyond that, what interface is normally used to connect to financial systems? Good question. So in terms of getting data in the system, would we implement for a specific customer? Our professional services team will work to help define, basically take what we have out of the box, configure it to customer requirements, and whether it's workflow processes, forms, different data points and values people need to capture. We work with your team on that. They work in concert with the data science team to make sure information is being set up in a way that's going to be valuable from the analytics side. And then that data is available to some of the analytics we looked at. On the second question there, or second part of the question, that the interface is normally used to connect to financial systems, we do have an open API, a RESTful web-based API, and that is leveraged for various connections. So if you wanted to pull, say, actuals from your ERP, your purchase orders, or things like that in from your financial system, or push data out into the financial system, that would leverage our API. And there's documentation and things like that for those that are interested in leveraging the API. Next question, is the K-12 dashboard available to us if we have analytics? Very good question. I don't, let me follow up with you on that specifically. I don't know what, I can't see here what organization you're with or other information. But maybe we can follow up afterwards to see what would be available to you. And I'll take that a step further. We can also follow up with you. We can reach out to you about that information as well. Next question, how would you establish a business process such as the change control process for an RFI response? Great question. So we already have tools like that out of the box. So we have an RFI tool. That RFI tool elevates takes an RFI that has a cost impact that has been completed and needs to be elevated into something like a change event or an issue, then further into the change control process with change orders and requests for quote, rough order of magnitude, and things like that. So we do have an out-of-the-box tool for that. And we're happy to reach out, or if you'd like to connect with us to talk more about some of our cost management tools and how they connect in the system dynamically with the document management tools, we'd be happy to speak with you. By the way, if any of these questions I'm not answering fully, just post a follow-up and we'll make sure to answer it further. All right. Next question. Are there plans for making Kahua's analytics public-facing, particularly in the context of a K-12 program, considering what the data is more controlled, or excuse me, considering that the data is more controlled when front-facing? And I'll let Cosmin answer that one.
Absolutely. So there are plans to make analytics front-facing, however, not Kahua analytics. It's something that we do want to stress very heavily, that Kahua analytics is a Kahua-centric product that lives inside of the Kahua application. However, by working with us, getting analytics and getting your own offering, you also get access to the data models and visuals and all the work that's been put into a Power BI report or multitude of reports alongside with the complex data models, the efficient queries. And so this combination of resources that you have access to could enable you to deploy this in a public-facing way through your own organization's infrastructure, but supporting entirely what we have built and created for you. So this is something that is possible. I just want to stress the importance of, while Kahua Analytics specifically lives inside of the Kahua application, the data and the way that it's structured, this is what you get with analytics. It's not just the visuals that bring in the value, it's also the underlying data model and the power that you can leverage on your own, building your own, working on your own offering, adding on top of it, customizing your business processes. So it is something that we do welcome, and we'd love to engage with you on making these public facing.
All right, next question. Where is your RESTful API document? A very good question. We have a site for team members that are enabled to do things like API work, work with our K-Builder tool. I would say more advanced things that are just on our standard support site. And we can provide access to that information for partners and for customers. In that documentation, we have information on how to leverage the API, use the API. We also have a set of Postman collections that are available as well to get people started in defining the API. Finally, within the API, you can there's a way for you to generate a data dictionary for your organization based on the data that's been implemented. All right. We hear that data is important, but I don't really understand why. Why is it important to track data in Kahua? Very good question as well. There are a myriad of reasons to be tracking critical information in Kahua. I would say at its base level, in our industry, it's critical that people are managing their risks through documentation, and additionally, being able to just kind of do the general business processes like manage contracts, change orders, budgets, and all that. And Kahua is helping make that easy. Take that a step further. Now that data is in, there's value in using the tool as is with reporting and things like that. Then you have the additional value of leveraging Kahua data for these analytics to be able to see trends, to be able to drill through and see information. We talked about the story of San Juan and being able to fill out their monthly forms in a matter of an hour versus days. So there's a lot of information. There's a lot of value in being able to pivot and leverage the information that's being entered in already in a valuable manner to get better information following.